What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Nussbaum Auto House. I am your host, David Nussbaum. Today, I'm a little bit under the weather, but I wouldn't miss this specific show that I'm at right now, even if I was on my deathbed. So this is Das Renn Treffen, DRT. I think it's the 12th or 13th year that they're having it here in South Miami, Florida. And I'm not sure if you can see here, but there's going to be some really special things going on. 993 Turbo S on some HREs, but what I'm going to do in this video is something a little bit different than what I usually do. Obviously, I'll do a full build and kind of talk about the build, but in this video, I will, anything that catches my eye, whether good or bad, but mostly good, I want to say positive, I'm going to comment on it, maybe talk about some wheels, some different exhaust setups, suspension setups, things like that, and different cars that I love to look at. I'm a Porsche fanatic, so obviously this is going to be a kid in a candy store, so to speak, and it's a two-day event. So today I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going to try and do a couple hours here, and then tomorrow I'll pop in and see if there's any other new cars that popped up. But I'm already looking down this lineup here. Let me see if I can turn this around, and you're going to see tons of cool stuff. I mean, this looks like a 997 with some sort of tech art kit. I'd have to inspect it a little bit further to see if it's authentic. Then you have a 5-spoke GT3 RS. You have a 997 back there, so some pretty cool stuff. I can't wait to show you guys everything that's here at the event. I'm walking up on the 992 C4S that I did for my buddy Alex. This is going to be the racing yellow, and this is the first set that I'm actually going to unveil in a new video. It's a brand new wheel model from MV Forged called the BND 05. They actually showcased it for the first time at Tokyo Auto Salon last week, and now it's here for the first time in the USA on 3 cars that I put them on. So this is the very first one. What I wanted to do with the wheel was basically do a bunch of different configurations, a bunch of different sizes, and a bunch of different colors. That way a customer that is interested in those wheels can see the differences of what you can do. So right here, like I mentioned, this is a 992.1 C4S. This has monoblock version or monoblock configuration of the BND 05 in a gloss brushed gunmetal finish. 20s in the front, 21s in the rear, which a lot of people shy from because they think that it might look a little bit too small on the car. However, the way to work around that is that you do a monoblock wheel so it looks true to size. So as you can see here, the rear wing is up. Customer wanted that way. And this is the factory wheel fitment in terms of the diameters and the widths. So you can reuse the factory tires, but with lower offset, so it sits way more flush. And let me get down to the side of the car, that way you can see it. Very, very, very aggressive fitment, especially up on the front. Again, this is the monoblock version, the BND 05 from MV Forged. And not too far away is the 3-piece version, and hopefully you guys can hear me over the MC. But this is going to be the 3-piece floating spoke version of the wheel on this Oslo Blue PTS color. For this car, decided to do 21s and 22s in the rear and the floating spoke design. So you can actually do this 3-piece floating spoke the way that this wheel is, or have the face inset, which I'll show you in a little bit. But this, people have been asking me, is this all one single face? And yes, it is. This is all one single face. These pedals are not add-ons to the wheel. So we actually finished it in a 2-tone silver with a very light Porsche gold. Same thing for the lips. 21s in the front, 22s in the rear. So 1 inch bigger in diameter than we did on the 992 Carrera. Looks absolutely phenomenal. Again, people know me for the fitment, so got to go down the side of the car. And also the interior has the Special Wishes Sunderwurst. Hi guys. Let's get that on the other side here so you can get a better glimpse at the factory seating. So this is the third car that I brought, 992 GT3 RS with the BND 05. Now the difference on this 3-piece is that it has the inset face as opposed to the floating spoke. So you can see that right here. And this is a 21 in the front, 22 in the rear. You have your choice between the floating spoke or the inset face. No additional cost for either design. And somebody had asked me, what's the inspiration for these designs? Well, right next to this thing is a slant nose that has Fuchs wheels. So you can say in a way, this is gonna be the inspiration. Also a little bit of Turbo 50 in the wheel. So I think this is gonna be a really, really hot seller for anybody with a Porsche. This is gonna be a really hot seller for anybody with a Porsche 911. And no, this car does not belong to the infamous Pet Fred. This belongs to a client. We did Acropovic exhaust for this. We're gonna do some headers, probably through Soul. So I do have this car on my channel already. Make sure you click that with the Acro exhaust. I think I'm gonna bring it back once we do the Soul Performance headers as well. This is a beautiful blue. It almost looks like I don't even know. It's almost black. I don't know if the camera is gonna be able to see it, but once you're in the sun, this roof has this amazing blue finish. You can make the joke that we're not sure what this car is doing here, considering that it is officially a roof with its own vehicle identification number, its own VIN, and recognized as its own manufacturer. But I'm not one of those guys. This is obviously a Porsche. No disrespect to the guys at Roof. I know they do an incredible job. Hopefully I get to visit their facility one day and change my mind on that. But as far as everything goes, I mean anything. Just the scoop behind the rear fender, the 5-spoke legendary wheels, the big brakes. I mean, this thing is absolutely stunning, especially in this extremely dark blue. GT4 RS right behind the roof, a little bit lighter of a blue. I think this car is super slept on. They ask a pretty penny for it. I think as of January 2026, the numbers are in the 2s, but it's so worth it. Some people say it handles even better than a 911 because of the mid-engine setup, and I believe it. Again, I think people sleep on the Caymans and the GT4 and the GT4 RS, but it shouldn't be. This thing is going to be an absolute mega classic in the future. This used to belong to my buddy Elvis, Mr. 911 on Instagram. You guys probably know him if you're into Porsches. 997 GT3 with BBS wheels. It now belongs to JR, another buddy of mine down here in Miami. Red roll cage, red exterior, BBS is in silver, and then check out the license plate. Does it get better than that? Love this car. So I had to show y'all this Mansory kitted Rolls-Royce Phantom. Obviously this is supposed to be a Porsche event, but the flex on whoever arrived in this is top notch. So I gotta give credit where credit is due. Typically Mansory will arguably make tacky stuff for hypercars, but this is very, very tasteful. You have a side skirt that isn't too loud. You have the Mansory emblem on the side, a brand new front end. So very, very well done. I would love to shake the hands of whoever rolled up to the Porsche event in this big boy Phantom. Elvis arrived late, so we doubled back to where we were previously, where this Rolls-Royce is. Mint green, PTS color. Phenomenal. I tried to get a set of the wheels that I showed to you earlier, the MVs, but just didn't work out. He accidentally fell and cracked the glass a couple grand later to replace, I think he said. But it's all right. When you have a car as nice as this, I don't think you really worry too much about the small stuff. If I was to do a set of wheels on this, I think it would be maybe brush clear, just to let the mint green kind of speak on its own. Definitely 2021s or even 20s all around. It's a fitment that more people are doing, the chunkier tire. You kind of see it on my 997 later when I went down to 18s, but 20s all around would be awesome. And then this one also belongs to his buddy. 993 turbo on H3 527s, 19s in the front and the rear. He did not order the H3s from me, but he did tell me he had to use a spacer because the fitment was a little off. So again, if you want your stuff to look right, you want to spend 10+ K on H3 wheels and you have the fitment right, contact me. Brush clear finish. The rear fitment is on point, I must say. I used to do a lot of 19s on this car, but over time I think we're gonna go back down to the 18s because the profiles of the tires, you got a really thin profile 315/25 profile for the rear. And in the front, you have a 235/35. So it's chunky in the front, which means you have to slam the front in order for it not to look a little funky. So that's why I prefer the 18s, because that's more chunky front and rear. This almost looks like Brewster Green on this 1500 Porsche. I always laugh at this car just because of the fitment. You know, back in the days, they weren't thinking about having flush wheels, but if anybody out there has one of these cars and wants to just mess around a little bit and do a flush wheel fitment just to see what it looks like, give me a call. I would love to partake in something of this vintage. This to me is like a Sunday cruise, cloth interior. I would be scared to drive it, honestly. I would be more scared to drive this than to drive the Mint RS, just because I know how that car handles, but I digress. So again, if you guys have this car and want to mess around with it, please let me know. We'd love to do some wheels on something this old school. Walking down the side street here, I came across this underloved 996 Turbo. I'm a huge fan of the 996 platform. I owned a C4S myself, and if anybody hasn't driven one, I highly recommend it, because once you get in that car, doesn't make any sense why anybody would say that car is bad. It's absolutely phenomenal. The wheels, they look like period correct champion wheels, and you can see kind of because of the reverse lip, there's no step lip to it, which is the telltale sign of wheels that are a little bit older in age. And also he's been using the car as intended with some curb rash and chips and things like that nature, but you know, I appreciate this car, especially in yellow. I think yellow is another underrated color for 911s. So underrated color, underrated platform. It looks like it's got a aero wing for the rear, perhaps from factory. Of course, it's a manual, so gotta show love to these 996 turbos. Fantastic 993 turbo, again on HRE 527s, like the one I showed earlier. This one also has the 19-inch fitment. Let's see if they added the spacer to the front. It doesn't look like it. They might have fixed the fitment there, but this is a pretty neat setup. Check out that intercooler. Carrera S with the turbo wing. Very rare for Carreras back in the day to be optioned with things like that. I spoke to the owner of this car. It's ruby red, Porsche 991. It's got BC Forge wheels, which are made in Taiwan. I appreciate him trying something a little bit new. It's a split 5-spoke, but with an elevated face, so you can see the assembly bolts, kind of like a HRE Classic 300 style. They actually don't have something like this, so maybe that's why he went with BC Forge, or maybe he just wanted to spend a little bit less, but I appreciate the effort on this. 997.1. Is it a GT3? He left his hood up. Let's see. Interesting. Oh, he's got the 4 quad tailpipes, just like my 997, so that means it's a Carrera S, but it looks like a GT3. Pretty good job. Pretty good clone, manual. 997.1, as I mentioned. Love the guards red. Love the BBS LMRs. Probably top 5 all time for wheel design for sure. Kind of the inspiration for what I did on my 997.2 Carrera S. And then right behind it, you have a 991 GT3. It's a 0.2 with E89s. Another setup that I absolutely love. I'd love to have a car just like that one day, just red. This is a properly done dad wagon. I think the license plate even says dad wagon. I did something like this back in my older days on 22s front and rear. Unfortunately, this car has a set of Anarchy wheels, which a lot of people didn't know are no longer made by HRE. They're actually made by AG. It's a little kept secret. Not sure why they would keep it a secret, but I've informed people of it, and they've kind of got caught off guard. So, you know, I hope that the company is telling people the truth. For many of you that have been following me, you know that I look like the quirky stuff, the stuff that is unloved, the stuff that nobody looks twice at. This is kind of my jazz. Porsche 924, I wish I would see more of them here at the show. Porsche 928 is another one. I think it's in the cards for me to purchase one of these bad boys, slam it, do a proper set of wheels and suspension, and possibly even exhaust, and kind of show these owners what they can do. So whether it's a 924, 944, 968, what have you. 928 would probably be my number one, just because you can get the manual and because it's a V8. But either way, I don't even think I saw one 928 in the entire show. So gotta bring those out more, guys. I almost passed this car altogether. Got to the front end before I realized that it had some black wheels, HRE 305Ms. I like it. It looks like a roof setup. Probably would lower the car a little bit more, but I actually love 5-spoke wheels, so I can't complain about this. That basically about wraps up for day one. I'm gonna head home. I think all the medication that I took in the morning is wearing off. I'm gonna restart, reset, get some sleep, and then come back tomorrow and see if there's anything new that arrives. So again, Tech Art, I think from Ontario. Sick ride, pass it on. Who's the owner? Not a fan of the wheels, but I dig that he went different. All right, so here we are, day 2 of DRT. I feel so much better. I'm with my boy Alex, longtime best friend. I want to show you some of the stuff that we have today. The weather has been off and on raining every single hour, so the amount of people here is definitely a lot less than yesterday, but there's still some cool stuff that popped up that weren't here, like this 991 GTS that belongs to my buddy Andrew. I did those BBS wheels, so at the time, the BBS did not make E89s in a 5-lug bolt pattern. They only made it center lock, and we commissioned BBS to do a 5-lug. It was the first set ever, to my knowledge. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 sets in the world of this style. And you think to yourself, well, those don't look like E89s. They look like LMRs. I agree. However, internally, when BBS sent us the build order, it said E89 on it. So, you know, not sure why they did that, but it's an awesome look. This car used to be green. He has it wrapped in the frost white. He refinishes the BBSs also in the white with some brushed lips. It used to be green car, gold BBSs, which I actually prefer that design, but I still think this looks pretty unique. Very Miami Vice style. Ducktail, manual, of course, so I tell him if you ever go to sell it, give me the opportunity to purchase it first. And then right in front of it, I've seen this 996 around many times, even on the track. Again, I am a huge fan of 996s. I feel like they are extremely underrated platform. I own a C4S myself. This, to me, narrow body 996 is done perfectly, absolutely perfectly. I would love to find the owner of this, talk to him about it. Wonder how many miles it has. It's got the yellow frosted or tinted headlights, BBS wheels, pretty cool interior, Porsche racing helmet, very cool, especially the back end, center exit exhausts. I would love to do that on my 997 eventually. 996 Turbo S in a very, very cool color. It almost looks like a small hint of blue. Super, super clean. You've got an aero front lip. Really digging that car. Again, underrated. Probably my favorite factory wheel design of all time. I kept it on my 996 for a while, so super good looking car. My boys Eddie and Noel at Group B. If you're ever looking for a super sick car, RWB, wide body, 964, 930s, anything super unique and rare, give them a holler. Check them out on Instagram. Check out their website, Group B Miami. They helped me sell my 996 C4S. Check out the lips on this RWB. That thing is absolutely massive. Got the wing, got their logo, green accents in the interior, super clean, signed by the Kai-san. Very, very wide. Check that out. And you got a Cayman GT4 on some BBSs, LMs. Yellow 911s have my heart, especially if it has 5-spoke roof wheels. Love this thing. Ducktail, roll cage, clean buckets, and then not for everyone, but mad respect for anybody that puts air suspension on a Porsche 911, especially a 964 on BBSs. I personally would do the different color on the BBSs, but again, I can't be mad at this at all. Interesting 993 convertible with kind of like the mud guard and a big rear wing on BBS LMs. I've always kind of been torn on how I feel about a big wing on a convertible car. I want to hear the opinions that you guys have on such a setup. Genuinely, let me know. Here's another client's car, 991.2 GT3 RS on Strauss SM5R carbon wheels. Now, this setup was a mission to complete. So hopefully you can hear me over the DJ, but these carbon barrels were stuck at customs for a week. They're actually still stuck at customs as we speak. So I actually had to take these carbon barrels from a different order and swap them to these faces that are carbon overlay, and it was all last minute. Thankfully, the guys at Strauss, Rob and Chris, the co-owners of Strauss, were able to put it all together. This car was finally put together around 8 p.m. the night before the event, and it had to be loaded in 7 in the morning the following day. So my client was super happy that we were able to take care of him on that. We did the IPE exhaust with carbon fiber tips. Sounds immaculate. As you can see, this client loves carbon fiber. Everything on the car that came with black plastic from Porsche has been switched to carbon fiber. The only thing that's left that isn't carbon fiber is this, which will switch pretty soon. And then on the inside, you're gonna see the seats have carbon fiber as well. He had so many different things on the seats, even down to the seat backs and the little handles to flip the seats forward. So the next thing that we're gonna do for this client is we're gonna do a new TechArt steering wheel and a new TechArt shifter to add some more carbon fiber to it. But as you can see, even the door card has carbon. You have lizard green stitching, lizard green door pull handles. I'm super happy with the way that this came out. Big shout out again to the guys at Strauss for making it happen. One of the few guys that will basically make any requests happen that you have down here, made in Miami, Florida. So again, big shout out to Rob and Chris. They have my full support. Here we have sort of an off-white, could be chalk, 992 GT3 RS with the red Strauss wheels, 5-spoke, 2021 setup. This thing came out wicked. Love the contrast and matching the side striping in the red. So once again, big shout out, Rob and Chris. You guys did it again. All right, so here are supposed to be the heavy hitter cars where people paid about 500 bucks per red carpet spot. You have a purple GT3 RS with red accents. Not sure how I feel about that, but the purple is absolutely phenomenal. I'll give it that. Followed by a dark blue GT3 RS.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a few more minutes remain for the meet and greet over at Rio Camp, so make sure you make your way.
993.
Get closer to that.
I want one of these one day. I'm gonna get one. 996 GT3 RS. I'm gonna do a badass setup for that. Make everybody want a 996.
Rio Camp, nodding your head, just pretending like you know where it is. That's fine.
Followed by the 997 Speedster. I actually don't like the way that they look, but I appreciate how rare
that way you can swing
those cars are.
Cool memorabilia photo book.
And then this soft yellow 993. I see it almost every day on the way to drop off my daughter at school, so I know where the gentleman lives. Roll cage in the same color as the soft yellow. If you know what the name of this yellow is on the Carrera, let me know. Looks fantastic. This Carrera GT belongs to my buddy Carlos. It's on 5-spoke carbon barrel Vossen wheels, and that's a good segue to the Vossen store with a huge flex on Sunset Place Mall that's otherwise kind of abandoned. They decided to do a whole store. I came in yesterday, saw some of the badass stuff like the GT3 RS and this Targa that's done super right on 21-inch, 22-inch Vossen wheels with the carbon fiber aero. Here's their wheel display. You got monoblocks, you got 3-piece, you've got 2-piece with the carbon barrel, 5-spoke designs, more aggressive designs, you name it, Vossen has it. 992.2 GTS, so the hybrid with a blue interior. So whoever spec'd this out at Champion, I heard that they worked there. They did a great job on the Vossen wheels. Back here, 992 GT3 RS. Again, on that new style where the outer edge has a different design than the middle of the wheel, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I think it works on some cars. A red GT3 RS, guards red it looks like, on black Vossen wheels. Again, that's a little bit better and a little bit along the combination that I would do, just because this car has so many black accents, so it works really, really well. 992 Cabriolet. And then you have another 992 over there and another 992 over there. So again, Vossen brought the heat as they always do. On this side, they're kind of showcasing some of their off-road deep concave wheel models, especially something like that. You know, you can't put this on a Porsche just because of the offsets that these use, but they wanted to be able to show people with trucks what they offer as well, because more often than not, anybody that has a 992 or a modern day 911 or an expensive 911, which is almost all of them, they have a daily work truck, and so that's where Vossen comes in with the off-road wheel setups. So super cool. Here's a 997 GT3 that belongs to my buddy Javi. So I actually did this set of H3 527s for his 997 Turbo, and once he sold that car, he repurposed them to fit his 997 GT3, since this car uses a narrow body fitment and the turbo obviously is a wide body. But it came out super nice, especially that he has the silver grayish outer lips, and then the front canards and the mirror covers are also in silver. All right, so basically I want to wrap up the video and do the final recap on the 3 cars that I brought. The 992 C4S on the brand new MV Forge BND05s monoblock configuration, and then the Oslo Blue 992 Turbo S Special Wishes. Now that I have the key, take a look at the interior. Factory badass interior, and also the blue stitching. Not sure you're gonna be able to see it here. We got the blue stitching all through here and up the top. On the 3-piece floating spoke version of the MV Forge wheels, PTS Oslo Blue. And then we'll move all our way to center stage, the 992 GT3 RS that my customer loves to track, with the 3-piece, also just like the Turbo, except it has the inset face. And I promise you, I'm going to be doing a video of this pretty soon here. So it'll feature all 3 wheels, all 3 cars together. So stay tuned for that as well. Signing off. Hope you guys have a good one. Wee, wee, wee.